Almost every city or town in Burma has a Muslim community. There are also Muslim and mixed Muslim cities and villages throughout Burma. The Rakhine state, which is also used to be called Arakan state, in western Burma, has the highest concentration of Muslims. Muslims have lived in Burma for more than 1,000 years, although some have arrived during the British annexation by Great Britain in the early 19th century. Christianity and other religions are also practiced. Islam is practiced in Burma by Burmans, by Indians, ethnic Bengalis, and some other ethnic minorities like the Karens and Rohingyas. Burma's draconian citizenship law makes it impossible for many Muslims to become citizens and receive national identity cards. Without this identity card, the Muslim cannot travel, cannot get education, cannot find job. The lucky few who are able to get identity cards are barred from holding high office in any government jobs. Military control of the curriculum, the rewriting of history, and the banning of non-Burman language and culture have made education into a weapon of the regime. While the closure of the universities, the burning of independent village schools, and the arrests of teachers have weakened the potential for education to pose a threat. Most schools and centers of higher learning are deliberately denied to the Muslims. So most Muslim children end up uneducated. Religious restrictions have also been placed on Muslims. They cannot bring the Quran or religious books from outside. There is a provision on the construction of new mosques and repairs to the existing ones. Groups of more than 5 Muslims are prohibited from assembling in one place in cities and towns. Permission must be sought, which are often rejected, to hold religious ceremonies and celebrate social occasions. The SPDC regime exploits religion to strengthen its hold on the power. So while they demolish mosques and Islamic schools, they're engaged in massive, expensive pagoda building and Buddhist ceremonies to make the population believe how benevolent Buddhists they are. Many of these pagodas and monasteries are built on Muslim properties. Worse still, Muslims must pay for such construction projects, including Buddhist festivities and funeral services. Muslim cemeteries are routinely now desecrated for conducting Buddhist funeral services. Islam is considered a threat involving foreigners. Racial and religious tensions have run high between Muslims and Burmese since independence in 1948. Successive Burmese regimes have encouraged or instigated violence against Muslims as a way of diverting people's attention from their failures on economics and political matters. A major outbreak of violence against Muslims occurred in Arakan state not too long ago. Before I delve into the subject of Rohingyas, let me provide a brief account of Arakan. Arakan, formerly called by various names, Rohan, Roshan, Rakhinpret, Rakhapura, lies in the northwestern part of Burma with 360 miles of coastal belt from the Bay of Bengal. Through its geological position, Arakan finds itself at the crossroads of 2 continental entities, South Asia and Southeast Asia, between Buddhist Asia and what is called Muslim Hindu Asia, and between Mongoloid and the Indo-Aryan race. Ladies and gentlemen, as hinted earlier, the Muslim community in Arakan, who are next to the Buddhist in number, consist of 4 groups: Tambukiyas, Turko-Pathans, Comanches, and Rohingyas. The Tambukiyas trace their origin back to the 8th century, when their ancestors from Arabia were allowed to settle in southern Arakan by the contemporary king Mahatheng Chandra in 788 through 810. The next group, consisting of the Turks and Pathans, are mostly found in the outskirts of Ronghun, the last capital city of Arakan. The Arakanese king Mongsong Mon, alias Naramafla, in 1403 through 33, recaptured Arakan. With the help of Muslims from the Sultanate of Bengal. Like the Tambukiyas, they were allowed to settle in Arakan. The ancestors of the Comanches came with the brother of Aurangzeb, Shah Shuja, the governor of Bengal, during the mid-17th century, who took shelter in Arakan with his family and the retinues that followed him. Their descendants are to be found mostly in the Ramri Islands. The Rohingyas are descendants of Muslims who traced their ancestors to all those who settled in Arakan: the Arabs, the Turks, the Persians, the Pathans, the Mughals, the Bengalis, and some Indo-Mongoloid people. And the Rohingya people are not an ethnic group which developed from one tribal group or just a single racial stock, but are an ethnic group that developed from the different stocks of people. The ethnic Rohingya is Muslim by religion, with distinct culture and civilization of its own. Arakan came in close contact with the Muslim Sultanate of Bengal since early 14th century. So much so that many of the Buddhist rulers of that country adopted Muslim names. They appointed Muslim officials in their courts, and apparently under the latter's influence even inscribed the kalima on their coins. Thus Buddhist kings ruled, but Muslims played an influential role in the court, defense, and administration of the kingdom. The Arakanese court's adoption of many Muslim customs and terms were either significant tribute to the influence of Islam. Mosques, including the famous Sandikhan Mosque, began to dot the countryside, and Islamic customs, manners, and practices came to be established since this time. Because of our geographic proximity with the southeastern parts of Bengal, Arakan developed both political and cultural relations with Bengalis. Its courts and royalties patronized Bengali literature. Some of the best-known classical Bengali poets from the 15th and 16th century, Alaul, Daulat Kaji, come from Arakan. Arakan was an independent kingdom until its annexation in 1784 by the Burman king Bodopaya, who ruled from 1782 to 1819. It encompassed at times the southern parts of today's Bangladesh, especially Chittagong. During the conquest, Bodopaya soldiers returned with 20,000 Arakanese prisoners. Thousands of Arakanese, Muslims and Buddhists alike, were put to death. The Burmese soldiers destroyed mosques, temples, shrines, seminaries, and libraries, including the Mrok-U Royal Library. They even stole the Mahamuni statue. The fall of Morocco Empire was a mortal blow to the Muslims for everything that was materially and culturally Islamic, because they were all razed to the ground. During the 40-year Burmese rule, 2/3 of the people, nearly 200,000 inhabitants of Arakan, Muslims and Buddhists, Rakhine people, they fled to Bengal in British India. Many of the indigenous Muslims found today in and around Mandalay and central Burma are descendants of Rohingya people who were taken as slaves. During the British rule, after 1824, some of these Arakanese who had fled to Bengal, they came back and settled. The state of Arakan was granted autonomy within the Union of Burma in 1948, which was later abolished in 1962 by a military coup. The Revolutionary Council, the junta, that grabbed power, nationalized all financial, commercial centers. Since the Rohingya Muslims were in great positions in trade and commerce, they were really hurt very terribly. All Rohingya welfare and socio-cultural organizations were banned in 1964. Their language program, which used to be broadcast by Burma Broadcasting Service, was also put to stop in 1965. It is worth mentioning here that prior to 1962, the Rohingya community was recognized as an indigenous ethnic community of Burma. They had their representatives in Burmese parliament, and some of them were appointed as ministers, parliament secretaries, and some of them even held high, important government positions. After the military takeover in 1962, the Rohingyas have been systematically deprived of their political rights. With the promulgation of 1982 citizenship law, they have been effectively described as non-nationals, foreigners. Interestingly though, in 1990, the same military allowed Rohingya MPs to run in the election. And many of these Rohingya people got elected. And some of them right now are in the prison, serving 47 years prison time. Currently, Arakan, or which is called the Rakhine State, has 4 administrative units such as Sandawe, Situe, Meyu, and Chopi. Akia, which is called Situe, is the capital city and the principal port of Arakan. The Rohingya constitute 70 to 80% of population in mostly Muslim-dominated part of northern Arakan, and 97% of the population in the main region. Since 1948, Rohingyas are victims of state-sponsored and patronized oppression, repression, discrimination, eviction, relocation, and targeted communal riots that result in death, massive destruction of their settlements, holy places of worship, economic bases, and expulsion from their huts and homes. Some of the major armed operations that were orchestrated by the Burmese government began in 1948, and these are military operations in November 1948 by the 5th Burma Regiment, Burma Territorial Force operation in 49-50, military operation March 51-52, Meyu operation October 52-53, Monsoon operation October 1954, Combined Immigration and Army operation in January of 55, Union Military Police operation in 55 through 58, then Butinchaw operation in 59, then Shuyachi operation in October 66, then Sijan operation in October through December of 66, then Najimka operation from 67 through 69, then Nyetmon operation from 69 through 71, then Major Ong Tan operation in 73, then Sabe operation in February 74 through 78, and one of the most notorious ones, Nagamin, which is King Dragon operation from February 78 through 79, that resulted in the exodus of 300,000 Rohingyas to Bangladesh. Then Shuyahinta operation in August 78 through 80, then Galon operation in 79, then Piathaya operation in July 91 through 92, that again resulted in the exodus of some 268,000 Rohingyas to Bangladesh, and Masaka operation that is continuing since then. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not difficult to understand why right now almost half the population of Rohingya, they are living outside the country. They are living a life in exile as refugees. They are living mostly in places like Bangladesh, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Thailand, Malaysia, UAE, and even some here in Japan. Next, let me share with you a short list of various kinds of war crimes that the current government of SPDC has been launching against the people. These are denial of citizenship of the Rohingya people, their restriction on movement or travel, restriction on education, restriction on ability to work, forced labor, land confiscation, forced eviction, and destruction of homes, offices, schools, and places of worship, religious persecution, ethnic discrimination, restriction on marriage, arbitrary taxation and extortion, registration of births and deaths in families, arbitrary arrest, torture, and extrajudicial killings, abuse of Rohingya women and elders, depopulation of Rohingya community, undocumented refugees, and statelessness, which are the byproduct of all these acts or crimes against humanity. You may wonder how such abuses of human rights can take place in a country that professes Buddhism. The sad truth is that millions of people of all ethnicities in Burma have a racist, anti-Muslim feelings, considering them as foreigners, immigrants, job or land stealers. And they look upon them as collaborators of the British regime, especially during the Second World War time, when a great segment of the Burmese community collaborated with the Japanese. During that time, if you would recall, 80,000 Rohingyas fled to Bengal in British India. They are called as the Rois in southern Chittagong. The SPDC and its predecessors, they have often exploited religion to divide and rule people, to let one people go against another. Definitely they have succeeded in their criminal scheme, and that's why a lot of times we are very saddened to find that majority Rakhine have become sometimes the worst enemies of a Rohingya. It is a sad, sad tale. In the 1970s, when the Nagamin operation took place, and also in 1991 and 92, the Burmese military dictatorship launched pogroms against the Rohingya Muslims of Arakan in the hope that the Buddhist Rakhines, many of whom are rabidly anti-Muslim, would swing over to their side, forgetting their growing anger at the Burmese army, who were also victimizing them. In each of these pogroms, nearly a quarter